NASA Artemis 1 is preparing for another SLS countdown rehearsal later this month to try loading cryogenic propellants into the massive launcher. If this succeeds, NASA could be ready to launch the Artemis 1 test flight all the way around the moon in August. And finally, they aim to land humans on the moon's surface in the Artemis program later this decade. However, NASA can't do this without SpaceX's HLS Starship. So on June 11th, 13 people from the NASA Artemis team made an important visit to SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas. So how shocked was the NASA Artemis team? In this episode, we'll find out if that visit is a positive, foreshadowing that man's goal of going to the moon is about to come true. Let's get started. First of all, I wonder why NASA is making the visit. Were they too impatient for the delay of the Artemis project? NASA's return to the moon will make use of SpaceX's Starship HLS, as well as the Space Launch System SLS rocket and Orion capsule. 4 lucky astronauts will make history on the Artemis 3 mission to the moon. They'll lift off aboard the Orion atop the SLS rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Orion will dock to a Starship in lunar orbit, and 2 astronauts, including a woman and a man, will transfer to the spacecraft. Starship will land the brave duo on the lunar surface while the other 2 astronauts remain inside Orion, orbiting the moon to supervise Starship's landing and overall week-long lunar exploration mission. As a result, NASA's Artemis team has recently made a visit to SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas for updates on the latter Starship rocket. The special visit was to gather data on the development of the Starship Human Landing System, or HLS, which was purchased by NASA last April to put humans on the moon under Artemis 3, targeted in 2025 or 2026. Taking to Twitter, NASA shared an update about the visit and called Starship vital to putting the first woman on the moon. In fact, this hasn't been the first time NASA visited SpaceX, but SpaceX Starship is now definitely more powerful and promising than the last time around. In just a half year, SpaceX has changed everything and amazed the NASA Artemis team again. Mark Karasik, the NASA Deputy Associate Administrator for the Artemis Campaign Development Division, also tweeted, "On my recent visit to SpaceX in Boca Chica, Texas, I had the chance to visit the Super Heavy booster, slated to make its first orbital test flight later this year, and the engines that will be used on Starship, the Human Landing System for Artemis 3. Very exciting," he adds. Now let's dive into the tour. Most impressively, we have this amazing close-up picture inside one of Starbase's build site tents. NASA engineers were examining the massive Starship Raptor V2 engines. They shared, "For the first time, we see Raptors 2 empty. The Raptor 2 engine looks cleaner with fewer pipes, which means fewer leaks." Interestingly, these 2 NASA gentlemen are wearing SpaceX safety helmets, but from the look on their faces, there's a lot going on in their mind. Well, maybe these guys from a NASA contractor working with SLS can't believe that SpaceX redesigned, built, tested, and are about to install this R2 engine in under 2 years from concept. They've never heard of something going from blueprint to full mock-up in such a short time period. And they can't believe that an engine this small is more powerful than the SLS RS-25S. Or, my God, this may actually work. Now I can't really wait to see Raptor version 3 next year. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think they're thinking. The NASA teams are then seen in front of Booster 7 in the Mega Bay. A few hours later, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk shared a picture of the 33 integrated engines, each of which he claimed would produce a whopping 230 metric tons of force. So the NASA team has definitely been to see this magnificent scene with their own eyes. Musk called this his Mars Colonial Transporter and replied in the tweet of Everyday Astronaut, "I can't wait to hear the rumble of a rocket that's over twice as powerful as the Saturn V." Booster 7 could now potentially be ready to return to the orbital launch site any day now. We have some road closures this week. SpaceX is definitely on the cusp of kicking off one of the most exciting and important test campaigns in the history of Starship, something that certainly NASA Artemis teams are also looking forward to. Along with Raptor, the tour also shared the picture of the grid fins of the rocket's Super Heavy booster. We can realize this is the latest design of grid fins. According to Everyday Astronauts video, Elon said they have shrunk the grid fins significantly from where they started out. The rocket will be equipped with 4 grid fins located at the top, used to guide the vehicle when it returns from space. However, the number of grid fins will be changed in the near future. They're much lighter. We obviously don't need 4. I think we could probably get away with 2, definitely not more than 3. They're really moving to 2 grid fins, but certainly not more than 3, and the third one can be small. The little vestibule guy in the, I like imagining a tiny little guy on one sector, Musk said. While SpaceX is making good progress on Starship, the premise for future SpaceX HLS and the NASA SLS mega rocket for Artemis 1 is on the launch pad for a 3-day fueling test beginning June 18th. During the test, the launch teams will rehearse operations to load propellant into the rocket tanks, conduct a full launch countdown, demonstrate the ability to recycle the countdown clock, and drain the tanks to give them opportunity to practice the timelines and procedures that they will use for launch, NASA officials said in a statement on Friday, June 10th. NASA attempted to perform the test in April several times, but was unable to fully complete the procedure due to issues loading fuel into the rocket's interim cryogenic propulsion stage. They found that loose bolts led to a hydrogen leak in umbilical lines between the stage and the SLS's mobile launch platform. A helium check valve on the stage also had to be replaced. Engineers have since repaired those issues and are once again ready to attempt the fueling test, NASA has stated. The rehearsal is the final test needed before launch and will begin at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday, June 18th, with call to stations, when members of the launch control team will arrive at their consoles to start the approximately 2-day countdown, the agency has released in a statement. If all goes well, NASA will fully fuel the Artemis 1 moon rocket on June 20th, hoping everything goes well for both SpaceX Starship and NASA SLS. And that just about wraps it up for today's episode. And don't forget, share your ideas in the comment section. Everyone's support is motivation for us to create more quality content. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.